right, so this is an interesting email here, and I know we've got a lot of police officers that listen this early in the morning, so I'd love to get your input on this, and I think I've wondered this before in the past as well. Is it ethical for a police officer to ask somebody out on a date, get a phone number, what have you, while they are working?
Well, you have a cop on the line who's been a police officer for 11 years that has an answer for you.
All right, let me read the email here first. I have a question, and I'm not sure if you can answer it or not. No, I cannot, but Matt will be able to. However, maybe somebody in your audience knows. Wow, premonition.
Hang on, Matt.
Hang on, Matt. Don't leave us now, dude. My friend and I were having lunch a few days ago. We had been deep in conversation and weren't paying attention to anyone around us. Suddenly, we were startled when a cop appeared at our table. We're both a bit confused for a second and started looking around to figure out what we had done or what had happened while we were deep in conversation.
I'm like, how did I break the law eating my sandwich?
Yes, don't approach me as in full uniform.
Right?
I am not going to think it's good news.
My default would be like, what did I do? Did he follow me in here? Was I speeding? And he finally is giving me my ticket inside the Starbucks? She says all this happened in just a few seconds. So the cop then introduces himself and he explains that he couldn't help but notice my friend. He said he would have major regrets if he left and never took the chance to ask her out. Now, I'm assuming dude's in full uniform? Full uniform.
I would imagine.
He asked if he could have her number and that he'd like to take her out for a drink. She kind of agreed and then gave him her number. When he walked away, I asked if she was really going to go out with him. She said she didn't want to, but she kind of panicked. She thought she was in trouble at first. She said she did not find him attractive, but was scared to turn him down because he had on the uniform. There you go.
Might go to jail if you say no.
I don't think that's in the bylaws.
It doesn't work like that?
Do we know that this guy was a real cop or he just had like a costume on? Like a little, yes. Or male stripper on the way to a job.
Could be.
So many options.
He did happen to have a boombox on him. So here's my question. Are cops allowed to approach someone for general or for personal reasons, like for a date, while they're in uniform?
Okay, so that's different than being on duty because the cop could have been in uniform and off duty and just stopping somewhere on his or her way home.
Okay, good point. She writes, if so, that seems like something he shouldn't be allowed to do. He clearly is using his uniform to pick up women. She really didn't want to give him her number, but my friend was caught so off guard. Does this happen often? Can cops get in trouble or even fired for picking up chicks on duty? Or is this totally okay? 1-855-BERT Show. Officer Matt is here. Hey, Matt.
Hey, good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Okay, so we got two things, I think, to chew on here. Is a police officer, while on duty, allowed to get a phone number or ask somebody out on a date?
Every agency has their own standards of conduct policy. So there are some larger agencies that have more comprehensive policies that may specifically forbid it. But then you've got those smaller agencies out in maybe rural Georgia that maybe that's not something that they feel needs to be written down. But at the same time, you'll have cops on like traffic stops go, hey, sweet thing, if you give me that number, we going to make this ticket go away. And it is absolutely unethical.
Totally,
right.
Yes.
So there's not like a written law. I mean, there's not the same sort of ethical bylines for every police officer and police officer in the country?
Well, and I can only speak for Georgia because that's where I work. But there is an organization called the Peace Officer Standards and Training Council, known as the Post Council, and they have expectations set forth as far as conduct of police officers, deputy sheriffs, troopers, and everyone that wears the badge, because that is a symbol of trust. And so if you violate that trust by doing things that are unethical, the Post Council can take your certification from you and you cannot be a cop in Georgia.
All right, second question then, and Kristen brought this one up.
Yeah, so this person, this officer was at a lunch spot, so maybe they were off duty, stopping somewhere to grab a bite before heading home. So if you were off duty and in your uniform, I'm assuming it's okay to ask somebody for their number?
If you're in your uniform, you're not off duty. You may be off the clock, but you still represent the agency.
Gotcha. Thank you for that clarification.
Okay.
So what about the reverse? Because I know a lot of cops get hit on at times as well when they're in uniform. Is that frowned upon if you get hit on and actually entertain it?
That would depend on the agency because it's happened to me, but my wife says I'm kind of oblivious to it anyway, but she's seen it happen. But it really comes down to an agency decision and a personal decision. Honestly, I don't know how I would feel about it because I'm kind of like, oh, God, leave me alone. I'm working.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So last question here. If a girlfriend wants you to role play as a cop, when I put the uniform on, could I be busted at that point for impersonating a federal agent?
For impersonating a federal agent? No. If you're in the bedroom, use in the bedroom. But if now you're out there trying to play some role-playing game where I'm going to pick you up at the Starbucks or something, then we might be getting into some thing.
That's important information this morning. Very important.
In other words, he says keep it in the bedroom. Bert.
You're good to go. All right, Matt. Thanks for calling. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank y'all.
See ya.
The Bert Show.
Like what you just watched? Well, you can get way more of The Bert Show on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you get your favorite podcast.